So you want to be a writer. You've got your notebook. You're sending your stuff out to publishers, but you know, maybe you even have like a fun shirt that says writer. Someday all this will be a story. Is that enough? Probably not. Honestly, I'm King Loki. I edit Death Wish Poetry Magazine. I publish my own books. I edit other people's writing and literature, writing, art. It's my life. And I can tell you right now that I always feel like I'm spinning my wheels. It's like, oh no, I've written 3 books. Am I happy? Fuck no. I haven't. I have 2 more I'm working on. I constantly have my head buzzing full of poetry. And here's the thing: you've got to accept that if you're going to be a writer, your writing isn't good enough. How do I know that? Because my writing is never good enough. It's never done. You've got to constantly work at it. You have to flesh out your ideas. Scribble in a notebook if you need to. I mean, hell, Odin knows I've got one right here. you know? I'm not, here are my notes. They're all just, it's a mess. You have to psychoanalyze yourself, figure out what you're trying to say sometimes, Don't be afraid to throw what you're writing into the trash, because frankly, practice makes perfect, and editing is the work of a lifetime. Creation is the work of a lifetime, You want to discuss your story, your characters, and if you're writing a poem that doesn't have characters or a plot, the themes, the images, the things that you're working on, you want to discuss them with other people. Here's the thing. There's a maxim I live by that the writer is the worst judge of their own work. And I found that to be true. Sometimes showing your work to someone else will highlight inadequacies and flaws in what you're working on that you didn't notice because you're too close to it, Oh, I need that pointless detour with, my main character and his ex-girlfriend. When in reality, it just hurts the story. You're just working through something in your head. Oh, what would I have said to my ex? It's in my story now. But that doesn't make for a good story. So you want to be a writer. It's really not enough to be writing your own work all the time. You end up cannibalizing your own ideas, and eventually you're just out of them. The only way to get better, the only way to have something worth writing about, the only way to write anything worth someone else caring about, is to read other books, listen to new music, go to the art museum, watch movies, consume art. You never know when inspiration will strike. What I'm trying to say with this video is that being a writer is about largely taking your ego and analyzing it and realizing where it begins and where it ends. Because frankly, and I can't say this enough, your rating's probably not good enough. My rating is not good enough. Stephen King will tell you it's as good as it can be. I had to release something eventually, Stephen King, Patrick Rothfuss, all these motherfuckers, they eventually just release their book because you can edit it forever. You can be like fucking George Lucas and just never be happy with the finished product. Or you get it as close to good as possible. But what you need to understand is that first draft, that second draft, probably not where it needs to be. Being a writer is realizing your limits and being humble. I mean, fuck, I'm wearing a crown. I'm King fucking Loki. So it's pretty rich for me to be telling you to be humble, but, all my trappings notwithstanding, I'm always editing. I have people I show my writing to who tell me the straight dope. They're like, listen, man, this isn't good enough yet, You should do this. And if their advice makes sense, I make the changes. I do another edit. And frankly, if you're sending your stuff out to publishers and they're not accepting it, it's because there's probably some inadequacy that you can fix pretty easily, You don't want to make perfection the enemy of the good, right? There's a lot of good stuff that I've read that just ain't there yet. And there's a lot of bad stuff I've read where it's been published because there was something there, So at the end of the day, what am I saying? Well, I'm going to make lots of videos like this, but your key takeaway for this is that edit and have community, Your rating might not be perfect. It might not be good enough. But is it good enough to publish yet? It might be. The only way to know is to show other people. While your writing is your art and it's your expression, you need to make it good enough and understandable enough so that other people understand it, appreciate it, and get what you're trying to say. Because writing and all art is about communication. All expression is about communication. And until you get that down, it's not good enough, even for other people to look at, you know? So what am I saying? I'm saying that if you want to be a writer, keep your ego in check. And the best way to do that, find community. Personally, I'm trying to build a workshop right now. If that's something you're interested in, if you're interested in having your work looked at by other writers who are also in need of someone to workshop with, connect with me. I have a link down below where you can sign up for my workshop. We're looking to start in January, so I have a couple people signed up, and you can be one of them. I'd love to work with you. That, or you could submit your work to Death Wish Poetry Magazine when our submissions are open. We should be open again in January, but you can always sign up for our newsletter, which is right on the front page of deathwishpoetry.com. If you're interested, this video and most things I do are brought to you by my book, The Demon's Struggle for His Immortal Soul. This is my fantasy novel, my dark fantasy novel. It takes place in a world where demons rule the world, and the main character, Splinter, is a young demon prince who wants to do great things, but his privilege is hard to ignore. And the promise of the power he can amass is also hard to ignore. So read it or don't. You can buy it wherever books are sold. My website, my personal writer's website is demonlandbooks.com. So whatever. A couple calls to action there, but regardless, I'm King Loki. Love your demons. Write the poems. Stay spooky. Ave fucking Satanas.